What is going on, everybody? Thomas here from That Money Guy. Today I'm going to be coming at you with a different topic, something a little stranger than what I'm used to talking about here, which is housing and the housing market in the U.S. So I've talked a little bit about New York City, New York State, and how it has really been decimated as a result to legislature because of the coronavirus. What I have really started to see, which is very fascinating to me, and it makes sense once you start looking at it, is housing markets in other parts of the country starting to boom as a result of it. With an ever-increasing demand for people to work at home, young entrepreneurs, young businessmen and women are now having the opportunity or having the idea to move to other parts of the country. They have the same work to do, but maybe instead of spending $2,000, $3,000 a month, you can go to a different state. You could go 10 minutes down the road and save yourself X amount of dollars. It's fascinating to me because you look in some parts of the country and you can pay millions for 800 square foot, and you can also in turn go to another part of the state or another part of the country and you can pay $60,000 for the same amount of space, if not less. And this is good. This is good for a few reasons. We have housing markets in cities like Detroit, which have been decimated for many years. It is very possible to buy 4, 5, 6 bedroom houses for less than $5,000. Beautiful, desolate, abandoned houses with beautiful hardwood floors, wonderful trimming, doors. It's perfect houses, but they're in horrific condition and horrific areas. So we have a wonderful opportunity to really breathe back life into some of these so-called forgotten areas of the country. Cities like New York City, cities like Los Angeles, cities like San Francisco, these cities are always going to be around, and there's always going to be people that are flocking to them because of the name. But cities like Detroit, cities that are on the, let's say, poorer end of the spectrum, cities like Atlanta, cities like New Orleans, that have populations, tourism, visits, but sometimes dwindling populations, we're seeing resurgence. And it's incredible to see. I've been looking at articles all over the news about millennials. Generally, the trend is millennials quitting jobs in cities such as New York City, moving to states like West Virginia, buying up houses for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, putting an extra $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in it. With that money that they put back into it, they stimulate local economies that have been hit much worse than states and cities like New York City, and they can breathe so much more life into these small towns, helping construction workers, helping plumbers, helping carpenters, framers, drywall installers. We're seeing a wonderful resurgence, an incredible push and aiding of these trades because of people. Now, it's very easy to look at situations that are going on in New York and only see the negatives. I've done it myself. I've said, how can a city like New York be losing its grip so rapidly and so, from the looks of it, uncontrollably? And it's very sad to see. I love the city. Couldn't live there, but I love it. It's a beautiful place. But then I look and I see these small towns in places like Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and I see people flocking to them, appreciating the small town lifestyles that these places can offer. Safety, security, beautiful environment, a safe place to bring up your kids. And I think, you know what, if that is the trade-off, it doesn't sound too bad to me. A lot of people, I'm sure, do not like the idea or couldn't move to small towns for one reason or another. It's not up for me to decide. But there are a lot of people who have grown up in these cities. They've never seen grass. They've never seen these beautiful parcels of land the same that a lot of these small town folks do. So they come out here and they're overloaded with a sense of freedom that you don't really get in an enclosed space like a massive city. So with that, we're seeing a population that is definitely having a trend towards the more positive. They're seeing freedom, they're feeling happy, like they can breathe and get outside, get fresh air, do all these wonderful things that you can do in smaller towns. These towns in turn are getting better trade, their tax revenue goes up, local volunteer organizations such as churches, fire departments and whatnot get an influx in volunteers, volunteer work because of that, and it's a win-win for everybody. Now, as I've stated before, these big cities are always going to be all right. They've always gone through rough patches. They've always gone through good times. You know, it ebbs and flows. Unfortunately, right now is one of the tougher times. But now is the time for a lot of these smaller towns to really, really pull together and to really come out and shine. We've heard, especially during election year, talk of these so-called flyover states. States that you wouldn't necessarily attribute with tourism, with visiting, with settling down. I'm sure a lot of people on the coasts don't really have a good image of places like Ohio, of Iowa, of Arkansas, Nebraska, and whatnot. I understand. As someone who's lived on the coast, I get that mentality, especially driving through these places. You can go so far between towns, and it's fascinating to understand how people set up lives there. But when you spend any amount of time in these places, you really, really learn to appreciate the beauty and the happiness and the satisfaction that the people living there have. Something that I wasn't able to see in bigger cities. It's definitely a lot more of a communal feeling that you get there as opposed to the big cities where it's definitely more, you feel more lonely. A lot of people say that. And a lot of people also don't understand what that means. You know, you're surrounded by people. How are you lonely? How does that work? But trust me, it's a thing. Those of you that live in the country, you know what I'm talking about. But I think that this is a time for these cities, these so-called forgotten places, these forgotten towns, to really start to come back and grow and really prove to the big city folk that there is an opportunity here to grow, to improve lives, to improve economies, win-win-win situations for everybody. It's a great thing to see, and if you can, try and just put your personal feelings and your personal worries about it aside. You'll realize the cities will be okay. They're always going to be there. These towns are going to be better as a result of it. The lives of these people are going to be a lot better as a result of it. It just works for everybody. Now, if that's something that you guys liked, if that's something that you enjoyed, please let me know in the comments below. I really, really enjoy making these videos for you. It means a lot when I get to go onto my analytics and see that I've got all these views. It definitely makes me feel great about what I'm doing. Thank you guys so much for watching. It means the world. Appreciate it. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe if you wouldn't mind. That would be so great. Adios, people. Goodbye. Take care.